This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. We're here for the regular council meeting of June 7th. We'll do quick introductions, then we'll straight to it. We have with us Councillor Curtis Clayton. Good morning, everyone. CEO Mitch Duval. Morning. Councillor Janine Boulanger.
Good morning, everybody.
Councillor Ron Manchuk. Good morning, everybody. Assistant CEO Dominic Lemoine.
Good morning.
And on camera is Councillor Shane Pelletier.
Good morning.
Myself, Chris Ewan. So without further ado, everything is in person. We'll be voting with our hands being shown. Councillor Pelletier will be just voting with his hand being shown on the screen. And we will go right into it. So item number 1, meeting call to order. Do I have a mover? Councillor Romanchuk, second by Councillor Clayton. Any questions? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? That's carried.
Aye.
Thank you. Sorry, delay. I guess I gotta wait for a little bit of a delay for Councillor Pelletier. So I'll open the meeting at 9:01 a.m. Item 2, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover? Councillor Boulanger, second. Councillor Clayton. Just a quick change. I'd like to go straight to the delegation, and then we'll go back to the top. If council's okay with that. Good here? Okay.
Good here.
Any other edits or changes? I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We will jump right to 5.1. Mr. Ron Rochon, Indemnity Committee Representative, take it away.
Thank you. Just maybe a quick introduction. So I'm Ron Rochon. I'm a Sandal resident and a resident of the RM since 1983, so a long time resident. I think I have a good pulse of what's happening in the municipality. And I mean, I don't know you people personally. I know Ron. What's going on. The committee that Mitch asked us to join, also, I think the people all there was a very good cross-section of representation from the municipality and had a good understanding of what's going on. So I think that was a good group to discuss the items that were up. So with the indemnity committee, what we were asked to look at is monthly remuneration, hourly remuneration, the kilometers rate, meals, and then as well as any technology allowance. So that's what we looked at. And if you have any questions at any time, feel free to jump in or and ask. We thought rather than just giving you guys just a note, here's what we've decided, but maybe just give a little presentation on what we're seeing and why we're saying that the recommendations are being made. So just so you have a better feel for it. So the resources used, we had a 2021 comparative data supplied for other municipalities. The information supplied was fairly complete, but it wasn't indicative of the final numbers, doing apples to apples, just kind of like base or monthly pay, hourly pay, but not telling people what was in there. So it gave us an indication, but it couldn't be used as a gauge. So we had general discussion with Mitch, and Mitch was able to provide us with information as required, that we thought was important in making our decisions. And we did a lot of discussing to see what made sense, what we saw as the role of counselors, how you're perceived, in public. So we just wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page when we were putting our findings together. And one of the things that was unanimous was that we all see council from the RM as a valued group of people that we need strong support and representation from. So that was one thing that came out loud and clear. The items discussed. So we kind of got a little into depth as far as, what is monthly remuneration, what is monthly remuneration, and what is included in the hourly remuneration. So just to get a feel for how it comes and what comes out. So that was one thing that we hashed over quite a bit. And like I said, that's where we use the comparison from other municipalities, but weren't really able to do an apples to apples review. General discussions regarding what is required, the council or the mayor. you know, what needs to be done, what's expected from them. So, and just to try to, you know, put that against the remuneration to try to make sure it's fair. And it was really agreed that the role, like I said before, the mayor and councillor is seen as a value to the community. So it's something we need to have the best people possible. So that was something that we thought, and we also thought that to attract these people, these, you know, top quality people, you need to have fair compensation. I mean, we all know you're not doing this for a living; it's all part-time. However, I mean, you need to take time away from your normal jobs. You need to be compensated fairly. And the other thing I think that came out loud and clear is that if you're a councillor or mayor, it's not just the hours you're putting in. You know, you take your dog for a walk, or you walk down the street with your wife, that, you know, you're going to be asked questions. So you're kind of on the job all the time. So it isn't strictly the meetings you attend, the phone calls you get. I mean, you're out there all the time, and I'm sure you guys receive phone calls that, you know, maybe all hours, and some of them might not be too friendly. So.
No.
So, but at the same time, we needed to make sure that while we were looking at this, that being public figures, that the aesthetics of the remuneration is always high visibility, and people sometimes just look at the dollar value, not look at the value. So that's something that we discussed, and I think in our group we had people that were still going up, some people were trying to pull it down. So I think we came to a happy medium. So one of the things we talked about is in your monthly remuneration, what's included. And there were some common meetings, mandatory meetings that you're expected to come to, but that weren't included in those in the monthly remuneration. So thoughts were, well, if they're mandatory, why aren't they included in the base remuneration, the base dollars you receive? And what we have, a list of that is, you know, 2 monthly regular council meetings, a public works meeting, monthly planning meetings, quarterly emergency services environment, quarterly recreational and EDO, finance meetings, and personnel meetings. So it was agreed that those were really part of your base, as I said before, and that they should be included in your monthly base, not as extra hours. That way you don't have to pay for it, you don't have to do your expenses and add it in there. It's just there, you're getting paid for it. And you know, Mitch said that you guys are almost always there. So we just thought that let's just add that in there. So I guess one of the things that would be good for future committees looking at this, it would be good to get your input, because we don't. I mean, that was one of the questions that came out in our meeting is, what are the councillors and the mayor saying? Are they happy with what they're getting? Do they want more? Do they want less? But so it would be good, and it doesn't have to be, you know, this is from Curtis, this is from Ron. Just, what do you think? Like, I mean, let us know. Is this good value, or do you think that it's something that should be up? And not, I mean, it's for you guys here too, or for the councillors that are standing, but it's also for the people coming in. So that, again, the better remuneration, the better you're going to get for people coming in. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen this already. Like, have you seen the?
Well, we were given it, I think yesterday.
Okay.
I gave the bylaw, which has the details, but not your presentation. So
okay. But they've seen like the numbers.
Yeah, feel free to elaborate on them, because this is again for the public to see too. So
okay,
more than welcome to share as much as you want.
Okay, so what I put together is kind of a little table showing the 2022 remuneration for the mayor and councillor, and what we're proposing for 2023. So 2022 for the mayor is $3,365, for the councillor is $1,895. And again, that did not include the common/mandatory meetings. That's not in there. What we're proposing is, and what it comes out to is roughly a 10% increase. So a 10% increase, and then including the meetings, mandatory meetings in there. So mayor would have a base of $39.8150, and the councillors $22.86. So in there, and then going forward for 24, 25, and 26, just the cost of living allowance would be in there. And right now, raised, the cost of living keeps on going up the way it is. But I mean, reality is that that's what it is. So hourly remuneration, $26.75 and $23.37. We all agree that was super low. I mean, just what you look at, you know, like, and again, you guys are looked at as valued for a municipality. And then, I mean, if you were to work as, you know, an electrician or maybe you get beat up. So what we're proposing is $35 for the mayor and $30 for the councillor. Again, when we're thinking of these dollars, we're always looking at what are people going to say? Because I mean, all of a sudden you're giving yourself these raises. But I think that in this day and age, that's a fair rate. I mean, that's something that, I mean, it might be a little low, but just the aesthetics need to be kept in mind. Per kilometer, that's for use of your own vehicle. Again, just adjusted as per national council rate. I mean, I'm not sure how else we could do it. So I think that's the fairest and, you know, the most visible way. Meals, we looked at some of the municipalities had a meal allowance for when you're away, and we think that that's not very fair, because we don't think it's fair for the municipality, or is it fair for the individual? Because if you're someplace that, I don't know, you go to a conference in Toronto and you're given $60 a day, you're not going to go very far. So what we're saying is hand in your receipts, and that's what you get. I mean, I think it said no alcohol, but I mean, just as long as it's fair. And the other thing that happens with $60 a day is if you go to, I don't know, if you go to St. Agatha and you, yeah, go there, but if you did, and you're, and I'm saying for a day.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get the $60 or the $70 is what it is, but you only spend 40, people all put in the $70 or whatever it is. So just put in with receipts. I think that's what we thought was the fairest.
Yeah.
We would have loved to have your input on that, but.
That's fair, I like that. Yeah.
Okay. And technology, it was $100 a month, and we're saying leave it at $100 a month, because everybody has internet at home anyways. But you have added cost. You might have to get a faster internet because you need to go onto these meetings. You need to, so we think that you don't want to take that away. I think that's a fair cost, and it's a cost that business is doing everywhere right now. They're subsidizing employees that are.
Can I just jump in quickly, Mr. Steele, because the mayor has a phone that's cut, and is that added to the bylaw, or is that on the?
You would only get the internet version.
Yeah,
not
okay.
the phone.
And that's in the policy, will that be in the policy?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, go on, sorry.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
75 and 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's a good point. When we first got on council, she had asked us if we all wanted a phone or the $100. It was an either or, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that'll be in the policy, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, that's something we didn't talk about. I don't really know much about, so I can't comment.
No, that's
Fine.
Okay. Yeah, so that's our recommendations, and again, I guess I just want to say that you're seen as a valued commodity for our municipality, for the people. We want to make sure that we keep on attracting, you know, strong leaders for our communities. And we don't want someone looking at this and saying, oh man, that's not enough, I can't really afford to do this, so they're not going to come in. So we're trying to bump it up, and then, like I said, just hopefully you guys think it's fair, and just any comments or.
Sure, yeah, I'll pass around to council, anything they wanted to add or say?
Well, I appreciate the time, Mr. Rochon, that you put into it, and the rest of the committee as well. I mean, what we're talking about here is really the future council, you know, and what it looks like after the fall. So I think they'll be appreciative of the hard work that you've done, you know, and I think as far as the sort of processing of our indemnities goes, you know, by streamlining it the way you did, that's going to save everybody time, you know, so I think it's very positive, yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think this was great, and I'm glad to hear you had a good group and the good feedback and all that, because that's all, you know, we picked up. We're not 100% sure how it's going to turn out, but putting everything under the indemnity for like planning meetings, public works will really save us from having to, because we all have to look the same. We all have to have 2 hours because we all have 2 hours. But if somebody put 3 in, so it wasn't hard to do, but this way it just keeps it the same, and it's no questions asked, and then it's just our individual communities that nobody else goes to that is on our indemnity. So.
I'm not sure if I added in there that, so we figured out the hours you put in, like Mitch gave us the hours, and then it was 8 hours per month.
Mm-hmm.
And then we added that as a new rate, like the new proposed rate, so that's,
Okay.
keep that, I mentioned that.
Okay.
I really appreciate having all of that into the lump sum into our deputies. I think that makes total sense, and why our CEO didn't think about that years before is beyond me.
I had a good leg, I
Yeah, but, no, that, I really, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the competitiveness, and not the competitiveness with other councils, because I feel that other councils, deserve a lot more than they're making throughout Manitoba, but I appreciate the competitiveness about what our councilors make in their regular jobs. It might not be the same, but it's pretty dang close, so, where it will be in 2023, so it's getting there, and, I appreciate the effort that everyone on that committee put into it.
Yeah, when you have a group that does it, it makes us feel good too, because this way here, we gave our own raises and say, well, we do what you want. But when you had a group like that, Ron, and your group did a good job.
Yeah.
You really did a stellar job.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
One of the comments that came out in reviewing the other municipalities is that we don't want to be a follower, I think we need to be a leader in making sure that, so they can look at our rates and say, let's bring it up, because I think that, even though like you guys are valued, I don't think the return on investment is there, or return on time is there for people.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree 100%. Again, I thank all of the committee members. Is there anything else from council for that?
No, this is
We're trying to go in very good today.
Good job, good research.
Oh, Shane, sorry, I forgot Shane's in the.
I just echo the rest of council's comments and thank Mr. Rochon and the group.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you guys for what you do, guys and ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, enjoy your day.
Have a good one.
Okay, we will jump to item 3, adoption of minutes. Do I have a mover? Councilor Mamchuk, second. Councilor Clayton, thank you.
Last regular meeting was held May 18th, whereby council passed 2 variations, 1 conditional use subdivision and a development agreement. Council also gave 3rd reading to the tax levy bylaw, also passed a resolution regarding a land drainage study with cost share between Taché and Rechot, as well as a resolution regarding the speed display signs for the community of St. Adolphe. And those, by the way, has been approved by the province, so we'll be moving ahead with that. And requesting a DFA assistance because of the spring flooding, and that has also been, I received a letter yesterday confirming our request, and we're moving ahead with that as well.
Good. Excellent. That's it. Anything added or edited from council?
Not here.
I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Carried. 4.1, accounts paid to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councilor Pelletier.
Thank you. Second by Councilor Pelletier. Move, Mrs. Belanger.
2 batches. The big batch is 16033. That is basically all related to Revenue Canada. And my apologies, as missing a CFO, unaware that I have to pay the government back for the taxes and remittances from payroll. So that includes 3 bi-weekly payrolls, 3 monthly payrolls, and a quarterly payroll. So that's why it is a higher amount than normal.
Perfect. Can that be my excuse when I don't pay my tax?
Exactly. I did not know.
I forgot. I need
My
the
CFO.
CFO. Anything from council?
Not here.
Not here. Okay, I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 4.2, accounts not paid to be approved. Do I have a mover? Councilor Mamchuk, second. Councilor Belanger.
4 batches there. The biggest one is batch 16036 in the amount of 261,000 plus. Council has a list of the bigger ticket items in that batch. If you have any questions, I'm open to.
I'll open up for question. Anything from council? Not here.
Not here.
Not here.
Emergency Operating Center.
Oh, okay, thank you. And EFT?
That's an electronic funds transfer.
Correct.
Okay. Wow, good.
Okay, anything else? DOT, CAO? I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. 4.2, 2.1, council indemnities. Do I have a mover? Councilor Mamchuk, second. Councilor Clayton.
These indemnities are for the month of March, May. Get it right sooner or later, there's only 12 of them in a year. Having said that, for May, averaging between 16 to 27 hours.
Yeah, it looks like it's getting a little bit busier. May and June is always like that for us, so it's nice to see. Anything from council?
Not here.
Okay,
Not here.
Thank you. I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. 4.3, payroll to be approved. Do I have a mover? Councilor Mamchuk, second. Councilor Pelletier, second. Thank you.
Payroll 10, dating from May 8th to the 21st, overtime on the public works side, likely due to flood remediations. So those hours will be taken into account and claimable through the EFA program.
Thank you. Any comments or Councilor Blanchet?
Just about the overtime, they're working a lot. And like you see the overtime hours, but yeah, they're on the clock pretty steady right now. There's had a couple residents saying, like, what are they doing? Like, are they around and about? I'm like, oh yeah, they're working hard, so just wanted to.
Well, right now, as floodwaters recede, they're currently trying to get roads at least passable. So they'll be putting a lot of hours. I know the public works manager has some overtime hours for this upcoming period. That's strictly due to preparing the sites, preparing documentations for the engineers who come out and do the assessment of the damages. So just trying to keep things rolling along efficiently as best as possible. So
Makes sense. Okay, thank you.
we'll be busy.
Yeah.
And then as the bills come in, then we pay the bill, but then we also have to document where each load of gravel goes, which site, et cetera, et cetera. So then you got to distribute the cost. So it's going to be time consuming to do,
And there is quite a
to do the administration part of it, so.
There's a lot of damage too.
Okay, perfect. Anything else from council?
Not
No,
here.
that's good, thank you.
I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's carried. We'll move on to 6.1, bylaw 8, 2022, council. Did you have a question?
No. Trying to be complimentary.
Okay, I'll relax.
Bylaw 8, 2022, council indemnity of 23 to 26.
Public timing, eh?
And Rob? Yeah, okay. So based on Mr. Rochon's presentation to council regarding the indemnities committee, the draft of the first reading for the bylaw is there. So basically, in a nutshell, the mayor will get $39.81 a month, $35 an hour. Council will get $22.86 at $30 an hour. As mentioned, the monthly indemnity will be for the regular morning meeting, regular evening meeting, planning committee meetings, public works committee meetings, emergency services, environmental committee of the whole, which are quarterly, rec and EDO, which are quarterly, and finance and personnel as they are required. So we will put the forms together accordingly if council gives this first, second, and third reading, as well as the kilometerage number 7 reflects not just a flat fee, but the National Joint Council, and I believe those change every 6 months.
Yeah.
But we'll keep an eye on it for you. So right now, I think they're still sitting at
51.5, I checked.
51.5, 51.2 in that range, yeah.
And what were we before, do you know?
51.
Oh,
So we were bang on.
we're there.
Yeah, we were
Okay.
pretty much bang on. 8, the indemnity, the techno allowance, it does say allowance for internet and cell phone. Okay. So the separation, that hasn't changed. And the receipts on all there, et cetera. So other than what's been highlighted in blue, everything else would stay the same.
Perfect. I'll open up for council discussion. I'm going to just start with just 2 I did want to add, and I'm hoping for council's feedback, that I was looking at certain days that council, it should be under the base as well. After a long discussion with myself and the mayor, I came to the conclusion that I think Remembrance Day should be the only day that it's an unpaid day for council. If there's an event, we should attend. If you can't attend, I totally understand, and that should be made clear in the policy, but I think that it should be an unpaid day that you would attend to an event. Does that make sense to council?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, thank you. I was looking at Canada too, but I think Remembrance Day is suffice. The other question I had, and I did not ask Mr. Rochon, so Mr. Steele, you'll have to check, is mileage for these included indemnity meetings. Did you guys discuss if council was to claim the mileage to get to these meetings if they weren't online, that were now part of the base indemnity?
Right. No, we did not discuss it, but my recommendation to council would be to, include it as like a separate item, because you are putting mileage on your vehicle, you are incurring costs.
Okay.
So my recommendation would be to add it on,
Because
if not for,
Yeah, because I know we had a discussion and we were very torn last time, so I think I would like as part of the policy that going forward, it's either in there or it's not in there. And I'll bring that up for council debate if council's already consensus that they would like that as a
line in the.
yeah, separate
bylaw.
line, that it's to be added.
You can reimburse for mileage for your regular meetings.
but it's not in the.
It's not in the bylaw.
Bylaw, right? Just clarification.
Oh, just like-
I just don't
okay, you
want
want
to
to put it
debate
right,
every year
okay.
going forward for the next council, so
Well, that makes sense, yeah.
council as a whole is okay with that and then in the bylaw?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yep.
I have footsteps.
Yeah, you can't count your steps wrong. I think that's it. Again, I just want to reiterate that I think this looks very competitive, and I look forward to seeing what happens with the next council. I think it's going to be, it's a great option.
We also talked about, like armed dinners and things like that. That's not in the bylaw, but how much do you put in? Like, we had just kind of came to a conclusion that we charge an hour plus our mileage for an
Yeah.
armed dinner, things like that.
Yeah, that's fair. So I did look at one, I should ask this question again. I did look at, I think the Arm Springfield was the one I looked at, and they had social events
Right,
as a bylaw policy section. And they claimed max 1 hour.
okay,
That was it. Actually, no, they didn't claim it all. That was part of their indemnity.
okay.
And then I looked at another one, it was 1 hour max. So that's a discussion for council to have. I should have asked that question too. Sometimes we'll do a council building, night and we'll claim an hour. Sometimes
A
arms.
grand opening.
Grand opening, and then arms might be 2 hours. I don't attend that, so I'm not
Should
sure.
we just charge an hour on those as well?
So does council want to put in a policy?
Yeah, is that something we can look at for second and third reading? Is that,
Yeah. So Mr. Steele, could you look at second, third reading and average out what a social event? Well, what determines a social event, right? So I don't want to take away from what the
So I
committee.
mean, like, how much do we put in here, like, are we handcuffing, you
It
know?
depends where the location is too. If you go to like the Taché, it's only 20 minutes, but if you have to go out to Lac-du-Bonnet or something, not Lac-du-Bonnet, to where that place where, what's his name, has it out in the farm.
Peter's
Under, yeah, it's 100 kilometers just going one way.
So that's, you're getting mileage for them.
Yeah.
I don't know, again, I don't want to take away from what the committee's done. It's just those little details that you don't want
Yeah,
next councils to have to.
and maybe that's why he said it would have been nice to have council's input during those discussions, because these are things that maybe they could have, advised on and given the input.
As far as I'm concerned, we're doing it pretty fair right now, so I don't think it's a real big issue. It's only about 6 months or 7 months of the year.
You know, it's just that when the new council comes in,
Just for
that'll be,
future
they'll be, okay,
council
what do we do
action.
with this, right?
Yeah.
It'll be
So
up
can I
to-
make a recommendation that any social events are max 1 hour, Clint?
I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
how
fine.
we've been doing
that's
it,
basically what we've been.
plus mileage, yeah.
Plus mileage, yeah. Councilor Pelletier, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I'm good with that.
Okay. Does that make sense, Mr. Steele?
Yep, no problem. I think what I'll do is not put it in as part of the bylaw, maybe mention social events in the bylaw.
Right.
But then on the side, have a policy listing
Yeah.
all the potential,
Yeah, that's a good idea,
social events.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
right.
That's why we have you as the CEO. Thank you. the only,
backtracking.
that's the only reason. Anything else to discuss?
No, that's fine here.
Okay, I will, call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's carried. Thank you. I lost my page. 7.1.1 Development Agreement, Schinkel Properties, Inc., the Grand Three. Do I have a mover? Sorry. Councilor Belanche, second.
Curtis.
Councillor Pelletier.
Councilor Pelletier takes it. Even in person, you're slow, Curtis.
Oh.
Okay, this is regarding the Grand Schinkel development for a 10 rural residential lots. Planning has put a briefing note for council, basically the standard requirements to obtain the commencement certificate. Still states that you need to provide your lot fees, insurance, letter of credit. Lots 1 through 8 will have to front the new road that will be constructed, not off of Burnett. The other 2 lots will be off of Burnett Road. There's talk about a minimum 10-foot tree buffer zone, and the northerly trees. The developer is to provide lot purchasers with the elevation and lot grade plans for each property. Very important that the developer build a limestone pathway along the Seine River, on the public reserve portion, and that to be built to municipal standards. There is a private easement just north of that development that we need to tie into as well, so that will be Schinkel's lawyer's responsibility to draft and incorporate. And as well that the developer will provide architectural guidelines to all the purchasers of the lots and approve the building plans prior to the municipality issuing building permits. So there's development control on the subdivision.
Thank you. All come for council discussion. Council doing that. Councilor Belanche, this is your region.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the trees, because that was the biggest issue when we had our public hearing, where people attend. I don't know if 10-foot buffer is really protecting all the trees. That whole area is a bush, it's a forest right now, so I know they're developing lands and dividing them up, but, I don't know if it's enough.
Would you rather see a percentage than a?
Yeah, because it just says 10-foot buffer from on the north side, but what about the whole area? If you look on Google Maps, you'll see it's, like I said, it's the bush. There's a big opening in the middle where the road is gonna go, so I think that's a great idea, how they're not gonna be developing that. And then you can put your houses in a remote.
The way it's worded here from what I could read here, it's a minimum 10-foot tree buffer zone. The lots 1 to 4, northerly 10 feet, and shrubs may not be removed.
Subsection A shall not prevent the replacement of trees and shrubs.
And that's just to retain the buffer for the properties to the north.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can actually even enforce that. Once somebody buys a house, if they want to thin out some of their trees as they're dying or not growing, I just don't see how this is enforceable. I'm in favor of the wording and that it's included, but are we going to go visit them and make them put a new bush up if they happen to cut it down?
yeah, so I agree, it's not an easy thing, but you were here, Shane, you heard that there's concerns from the residents. It's a deer haven right now, and I know we can't stop the development there, and I don't want to. I'm just trying to see if there's a way that could that be part of the architectural guidelines, maybe, in the developer? You know how they say you can't have a chain link fence, you can have, I don't know. But that's not up to us, that wouldn't be up to us. Like, I have nothing against, obviously, you can cut down the deadfall and clean it up, that'll only make it better, but, I hate to, and I'm sure people aren't gonna clear cut their yard.
I think the ones purchasing, well, again, I can't assume, so I'm never. Yeah. I'm good with the way it is. I think Councilor
Okay.
Pelletier makes sense, like, can we really do too much? I think this is the best we can do.
I mean, I think it's in the developer's interest to want to keep as many trees as possible.
Yeah.
Simply for
Yeah.
retail.
Well, and even in future homeowners, if they're buying in that area, it's because they want the bush,
That's right, that's what I was saying, yeah.
right? You might get one guy who wants to be able to see the river from his front driveway and clear a path, but I don't know if we need to spend that much time on this because I don't know how well we could enforce it anyway.
Yeah, okay, all right, that's fair, I get it. And like I said, where the road is going and all the infrastructure, it's all in a clear space, not all, but most of it in the clearing anyway, so they're not gonna be leveling trees to put in the infrastructure, it'll be up to the homeowners, so.
Some individuals love trees and some don't.
Yeah,
Well, and we can ask the developer for their guidelines to include to keep as many trees as possible
yeah, that's what I had suggested,
on the
yeah.
builder side, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No,
Not here.
no, no, good.
You're good. Cal, call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. 7.1.2, C-17, 2021 McKee Moffett, extension of conditional use approval. Have a mover. Councilor Belanger, second. Councilor Clayton.
I'm not gonna put my hand up anymore.
As a result, I think there's an old road that ran through the property and is creating, issues on the legal, side of things. So they're just requesting an extension based on that matter. So, be my recommendation to council to grant the extension.
Okay. Sounds good to hear.
For council discussion, any comments, debate? No, Councilor
None here.
Pelletier. Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And 10, adjournment. Do I have a mover? Councilor Manchuk, second. Councilor Clayton. Final comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Close the meeting at 9:37 a.m. Thank you very much. Good day, everyone.